Be me, 20-something corporate drone with the physical build of a wet celery stalk, desperately fleeing a toxic lease. My previous roommate thought cleaning the bathroom meant spraying Axe body spray at the toilet and hoping for the best. My bank account is crying. Rent in this city requires a blood sacrifice and a 750 credit score. Find a Craigslist ad. Room available, cheap, quiet, don't touch my tools. The holy trinity of real estate. I tour the place. It smells like motor oil, citrus degreaser, and nothingness. Perfect. Meet the current tenant. I am immediately terrified. She is 6 feet 2 inches of pure blue-collar intimidation. Her name is Sarah. She's wearing steel-toed boots, heavy denim work pants, and a grease-stained gray tank top. She looks like she could deadlift my car. She has shoulders like a linebacker, visibly defined biceps, and when she reaches up to scratch the back of her neck, I see the distinct outline of a six-pack through her shirt. We shake hands. I expect my bones to turn to powder, but her grip is surprisingly weak. She barely makes eye contact, just stares intensely at my collarbone, her face mostly hidden behind a messy bun and a smudge of grease on her cheek. I work at the auto shop down the street, she mutters. I keep to myself. Music to my ears. I am absolutely terrified of her, which means she won't steal my yogurt. I sign the lease immediately. Move-in day arrives. I bring 2 suitcases and a tragic IKEA dresser. I am struggling to carry a box of books up the front steps. Sarah walks past me, wordlessly picks up the massive 80-pound dresser under one arm and carries it upstairs like it's a carton of eggs. I thank her. She grunts, looking at the floor, and goes back to her truck to grab her own things. I watch her haul her life into the master bedroom. First few boxes are normal. Work boots, wrench sets, car parts. Then comes the hardware. A PC tower the size of a V8 engine block. It has enough cooling fans to act as a wind tunnel. Next comes a monitor, then another, then an ultra-wide, curved beast that looks like it belongs in NORAD, followed by a fourth. Who needs 4 massive monitors? What is she tracking? Global oil prices? She carries in a mechanical keyboard that clacks louder than a socket wrench and an ergonomic mouse with 12 side buttons. I lean against the hallway wall, sipping a lukewarm coffee. Gamer? I ask. She stops dead in the hallway. The massive PC tower is resting on her shoulder like a boombox. She isn't even straining, but she doesn't look at me. Her eyes stay fixed on the peeling paint of the baseboards. Something like that, she mutters. Her voice is tight, a little defensive. She scurries into her room and kicks the door shut. The deadbolt clicks loud enough to echo. My brain raises a tiny, microscopic red flag. Mechanics don't need military-grade processing power. Changing brake pads doesn't require RGB liquid cooling. I stare at her closed door. Then I look down at my incredibly cheap rent check. I mentally set the red flag on fire. Cheap rent is cheap rent. She can run a dark web chop shop in there for all I care. 2 weeks fly by. On weekdays, Sarah is a phantom. She leaves for the garage at 6 a.m. She returns at 6 p.m., covered in engine grease and smelling like exhaust. We exchange polite, terrifyingly awkward nods in the kitchen. Then Friday evening arrives. The intimidating mechanic mask slips. She stalks her room like a doomsday bunker. Cases of white Monster Energy, family-size bags of Doritos, a literal mountain of microwave burritos. She disappears behind her door. The deadbolt clicks. I don't see her again until Sunday afternoon, but I definitely hear her. My bedroom shares a wall with her command center. Click, 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 click. The mechanical keyboard sounds like an impact driver. Then comes the audio. High-pitched, frantic anime voices. Lots of screaming and chaotic sound effects. It sounds like a seizure in a Tokyo arcade mixed with the sound of 1,000 Discord notifications. Ping, ping, ping. I'm trying to sleep. The drywall vibrates. I hear her breathing through the wall. It's heavy, rhythmic, like she's in the middle of a high-intensity CrossFit workout. My brain starts to wander to dark places. I immediately shut it down. She's a pro gamer, I whisper to the ceiling. She's probably top 500 in League of Legends. The clicking is just her high actions per minute. The breathing is just adrenaline. Esports are intense. Saturday night is the worst. The light under her door is a pulsing, toxic purple. It flickers with the intensity of a strobe light. I go to the kitchen for a glass of water at 2 a.m. I hear a sharp, wet slap from inside her room, followed by a very long, very shaky exhale. I freeze in the hallway. I consider calling an exorcist or a therapist, but the rent is $600 below market value. I drink my water and crawl back into bed. Ignorance is the only way I survive this lease. Sunday morning rolls around. Silence finally returns to the apartment. At 3 p.m., she cracks the door open. She looks like she's aged 5 years in 48 hours. Dark circles under her eyes. Her tank top is rumpled, and her hair is a literal bird's nest. She doesn't see me sitting in the living room. She's carrying 3 empty trash bags full of plastic and cans, her ripped shoulder muscles flexing as she hauls them. I look at the porch through the window. A new fleet of Amazon boxes has arrived, and they're all addressed to her. Monday morning, the hallway is a logistics hub. Every day, a new delivery. Amazon Prime must have a dedicated driver for our zip code. The boxes are always discreet packaging, no logos, just plain brown cardboard and heavy-duty tape. I try to be a good roommate. I offer to help her carry a heavy-looking one. No, I've got it. She lunges for the box like it contains state secrets, wrapping her massive, grease-stained arms around it. She's sweating. It's 65 degrees in the apartment. Wednesday, a box the size of a mini fridge arrives. I'm in the kitchen, toast in hand. The front door opens. Sarah is wrestling the behemoth inside. She's grunting with the effort. She drags it across the linoleum. Ripe. The bottom of the box gives way. A literal landslide of supplies hits the floor. 12 packs of industrial-sized tissues. 3 massive 1-liter pump bottles of hand lotion. Advanced Glide formula, fragrance-free, extra moisturizing for sensitive skin. There is enough paper product to wipe the tears of a small nation. I look at the pile. I look at Sarah. Her face, usually covered in engine soot, turns a shade of purple that shouldn't be biologically possible. She freezes. A bottle of lotion rolls toward my foot. I pick it up. It's heavy. That's a lot of supplies, I say. My voice cracks slightly. She snatches it out of my hand with the speed of a striking cobra. She starts frantically stuffing tissues back into the ruined box. Allergies, she blurts out, her voice 2 octaves higher than normal. Very bad allergies from the garage dust. The lotion? I ask. Skin gets dry from all the brake cleaner, degreaser, ruins the knuckles. She holds up her calloused, rough hands as proof, vibrating with nervous energy. She gathers the cargo in a desperate, clumsy hug, her biceps bulging against the weight. She retreats toward her room at a dead sprint. The door slams. The deadbolt slides home. Thud. I stand alone in the kitchen. The logic doesn't track. It's mid-December. I try to brush it off and check my phone. The Wi-Fi signal icon is grayed out. The router is behind her locked door. Internet is dead. Need to finish my work. The router is the heart of the problem. The heart is in her room. I walk down the hallway. Her door is cracked, just an inch. A strobe light of neon pink and blue spills out. It hits the hallway floor like a chemical spill. I knock gently. Sarah, you in there? No reply, just a faint rhythmic clicking and the sound of a heavy cooling fan. I tell myself she's asleep with her headphones on. I tell myself I'm just being helpful. I nudge the door open. The heat hits me first. It's 80 degrees of stagnant, PC-warmed air. The smell is a mix of ozone and fresh laundry. Then I see the wall. 4 monitors, arranged in a perfect square. It's not a game. It's not a 3D rendering of an engine block. It's a mosaic, a panoramic display of the darkest corners of the web. Every screen is a different portal to madness, high-definition degeneracy, things that violate the laws of physics and God. The allergies make sense now. The industrial pump lotion is positioned for tactical efficiency. Sarah is in the center of the storm. She's slumped in her ergonomic chair, her hand on the mouse. She isn't looking at the screens. She's looking directly at me. Her eyes are wide, like a 200-pound muscle-bound deer caught in the headlights of a semi-truck. The blue light reflects in her terrified eyes. Behind her, a digital character makes a noise I'll never unhear. My brain tries to process the geometry of what I'm seeing. It fails. It reboots in safe mode. We are both statues in a museum of shame. I look at the router on her desk. I look at her broad shoulders frozen in terror. I look back at the screen, showing the tentacles. My soul officially leaves my body. I am just a meat suit standing in a doorway. The silence is deafening. She doesn't scream. She doesn't throw a wrench at me. She just stares. Pure, unadulterated, 4K eye contact. I start to back away. My hand is still on the doorknob. I slowly, silently pull the door shut. Back in my room, staring at the ceiling, the images are etched into my brain. I close my eyes and see 4K pixels. I see the industrial-sized lotion. I see the look in her eyes, the terrifying, towering mechanic reduced to pure cosmic horror. The apartment enters a state of total nuclear lockdown. Day 1, absolute silence. Not even a mouse click from her room. I stay in my room until my stomach growls. I creep to the kitchen like a tactical operator. I eat a protein bar over the sink in the dark. I retreat before the air can even settle. Day 2, the ghost manifests. I wake up at 3 a.m. to use the bathroom. I hear the floorboards groan under heavy footsteps, a flash of a shadow in the hallway, the sound of a fridge drawer opening. She is foraging in the darkness, living like a hulking, muscular raccoon in her own home. I wait until her door clicks shut before I move. The knowledge of her browser history sits between us. It is a third roommate, a massive, pulsating entity of shame. Day 3, the inevitable collision. I walk into the kitchen for a glass of water. She is standing by the counter, fresh off a shift, still wearing her grease-stained work pants. Her massive hand is halfway into a box of cereal. We lock eyes for a millisecond. She immediately pivots 180 degrees. She presses her towering frame against the kitchen wall. Her neck is glowing emergency light red beneath the soot. She is trying to fuse with the drywall. "Sarah," I start. She lets out a sound like a tire losing air, a high-pitched, desperate, "Eee!" She treats me like a radioactive threat, like I'm the lead investigator in a federal crime. She refuses to look at me. She treats the hallway like a minefield. She flees toward her room. She doesn't run, she scuttles, a 6'2" woman trying to make herself as small as legally possible. Back into the darkness, back into the lair of 4K degeneracy. I stand there holding an empty glass. The air is thick with the scent of motor oil and regret. The silence is suffocating. I can't live in a tomb of awkwardness. My retinas still sting. My soul is still missing. I look at the kitchen island. I need a plan. I need a peace treaty. I grab my phone and open a food delivery app. Doorbell rings. The scent of spicy pad thai cuts through the smell of stagnant air. I set the stage on the kitchen island. 2 containers, 2 sets of chopsticks. I don't knock. I just speak to the hallway. "Noodles are out. Get them while they're hot. I retreat to the couch and wait. Total silence for 10 minutes. Then, the sound of a deadbolt clicking. Her door creaks open like a crypt. She shuffles into the kitchen, hoodie up, shoulders hunched, trying to hide her broad frame, eyes fixed on the floor. She looks like she's about to face a firing squad. I stand up and walk toward the island. She freezes mid-step. I slide the container across the marble toward her. We need to clear the air, I say. She winces, closing her eyes tight. I'm so sorry, she whispers. I'll move out. Just give me a week. I'll load up the truck. Move out? For what? She gestures vaguely toward her room, toward the degeneracy. Listen to me, I say. We all have hobbies. We all have internet rabbit holes. I saw nothing. She finally makes eye contact for half a second. Her voice is trembling. I want to walk into a car crusher and never return. She looks like she's aged 10 years in 72 hours. Roommate code, I tell her. The server has been wiped. The logs are deleted. The cache is cleared. We are back to factory settings. You're just my weird, muscle-bound roommate. She slumps against the counter. A massive, shuddering exhale escapes her. She's been holding that breath since the router died. The nuclear tension begins to dissipate. She picks up the chopsticks with shaking, calloused hands. You don't hate me? She asks. I've seen weirder stuff on the front page of Reddit. I lie. She knows it's a lie. I know she knows, but it's the lie we both need to survive. She takes a bite of the noodles. For the first time in days, the apartment feels like a home, not a crime scene. She doesn't scuttle back to her room immediately. She stays on the stool, staring at the empty living room. I haven't seen a movie in months, she says softly. I look at the TV, then back at the giant mechanic in the oversized hoodie. The treaty is signed, but the real work is just beginning. Monday morning, the door to the lair stays open. The blue glow is replaced by actual sunlight. She emerges like a cave dweller seeing the sun for the first time. She's wearing gym shorts and a tank top. Progress. Also, a visual confirmation that she could snap me in half like a dry twig. She sits on the far edge of the couch, stiff, like she's waiting for a doctor's appointment. I hand her the remote. Your choice, no anime with subtitles that move too fast. She settles on a show about restoring classic cars. It's quiet. I watch her out of the corner of my eye. Her hands are restless. Her right thumb keeps twitching over an invisible mouse. Her eyes keep darting to the corners of the room. She's looking for a second monitor, a third, a fourth. You okay? I ask. The frame rate of real life is too low, she mutters. I laugh. She doesn't. Then, a small, genuine smirk. The rehab begins in earnest. Tuesday night, we're halfway through a sitcom. She starts roasting the dialogue. It's biting, sharp, surprisingly funny. She's a cynic, a high-tier scholar of internet misery, but without the wall of monitors, she's actually charming. We share a bag of chips. The distance between us on the couch is exactly 3 cushions. Wednesday, 2 cushions. She tells me a story about a forum war she started in 2016 over a specific type of spark plug. She's a chaotic neutral gremlin trapped in the body of an Amazonian mechanic. I'm actually enjoying myself. She hasn't gone back to the darkness in 4 days. The PC stays cold. The industrial tissue box has been relocated to the bathroom. Friday night arrives, the usual time she vanishes for her 48-hour benders. She stands in the hallway, looking at her bedroom door, then looking at me on the couch. The silence stretches. Her hand is on the doorknob, white-knuckled. I hold my breath. She lets go of the doorknob. She turns back to the living room. The car show was actually okay, she whispers. Small victory. Monday morning, 2 a.m. I'm parched. Standard kitchen water run. I find her standing by the fridge, staring at a carton of milk. She's wearing a fitted black t-shirt and pajama pants. Her arms are crossed, pushing her biceps out. She looks exhausted, but her eyes are clear. The cravings? I ask. The brain rot is calling, she says. It misses me. I pour 2 glasses of water. I slide one across the granite. Don't pick up the mouse. You know the dark web is only calling because it's lonely. She cracks a weak smile. She takes a sip, leaning against the counter. Hey, she says. Her voice is low, stripped of the irony and the tough mechanic persona. Thanks for not moving out. I lean back, mirroring her posture. I told you, cheap rent, good location. No. Shut up for a second. She looks me dead in the eyes. The eye contact doesn't feel like a solar eclipse anymore. I know how I looked. I know what you saw. I got lost. Social anxiety is a hell of a drug. People look at me because I'm big, because I'm a woman in a garage. One bad month turned into one bad year. The monitors were the only things that didn't judge me, didn't care what I looked like. She looks down at her glass. I thought I was a lost cause, a permanent resident of the gutter. She looks like she's about to crumble into the linoleum. I reach out, then stop. Sarah, I say, you're not a lost cause. You're just weird. I can work with weird. She looks up. A tear tracks through the faint dark circles under her eyes, cutting through a tiny smudge of leftover grease. She lets out a wet, shaky laugh. I am profoundly weird. The weirdest, I agree. The tension that has lived in the apartment for months snaps. The barrier is gone. Just a skinny IT guy and a ripped mechanic in a kitchen at 2 a.m. The degenerate label is fading, replaced by something else. I realize I don't want her to go back into that room. Ever. She looks at me, lingering. I catch myself looking at her mouth. She reaches out and brushes her rough, calloused fingers against my wrist. I think I'm ready to stay awake, she whispers. She doesn't go back to the lair that night. Thursday night, sharing a bag of popcorn. The gap between us on the couch is gone. Our knees are touching. Her arm rests on the back of the couch behind me, her bicep brushing my shoulder. Neither of us moves away. Am I cured? She asks. Her voice is soft, lacking the usual defensive edge. Is the brain rot gone? I look at her. No red eyes, no hoodie armor, just Sarah. We're taking it one day at a time, I say. The silence in the living room is heavy. Eye contact lasts 5 seconds. 10. She leans in, just an inch. I can smell her shampoo mixed with a faint, permanent hint of motor oil. It's surprisingly intoxicating. My heart is trying to exit through my ribs. The no romance rule is hanging by a single thread. Her hand slides across the cushion, her pinky brushing mine. She shifts her weight on the cushions. Her head drops onto my shoulder. It feels surprisingly natural, even though she's heavier than me. I look down at her. She's looking up at me. Are you sure? She whispers. Her voice is shaky, vulnerable. Are you sure you want to risk it with a freak? I exhale a laugh. I think about the industrial-sized lotion bottle, the mountain of bulk order tissues, the kaleidoscopic mosaic of cursed pixels permanently burned into my psyche. Yeah, she is an absolute freak, but she's my freak now. I'm confiscating your Ethernet cable tomorrow, I tell her. A slow, genuine smile spreads across her face. She leans up. I lean down. We kiss. It's not a perfectly choreographed Hollywood kiss. It's a little clumsy. We bump noses, but it's real. No VR headset or incognito tabs required. I pull back just enough to look at her. She's blushing. Not the radioactive panic red from the hallway, just a soft, normal flush. My brain finally throws in the towel. Logic is dead. Romance. The muscle-bound internet degenerate. I realize something deeply cynical but true. The strongest relationships don't start with perfect Tinder dates. They start with shared trauma. They start by surviving the absolute worst second-hand embarrassment imaginable. They start with a broken router. She buries her face in my neck, her strong arms wrapping around me. I survived the goon cave. I rehabilitated a terrifying muscle-bound shut-in. And my rent is still incredibly cheap.